What is up, fam? So we've got the fear and greed index today at 8. Extreme fear. People are absolutely flapping. You can see here that's close to the yearly low. So about a week ago we had -5 and yesterday -9. So it's really looking pretty choppy here. People are struggling, I think, mentally with all of this, and I think a lot of people were expecting things to play out a little bit differently to what they have so far, but we're going to cover a little bit of that in this video. So if you look last time, we were down in the well, not last time, but if we go back a little bit in time, so I think this is US format, so that's probably the 8th of April. You could see we dipped into the fear zone, so sort of 15 20, so 15, and within like a month or something we were back up in the greed. So things can move like a real roller coaster in crypto for sure. So if you'd have bought this fear, you could have made some pretty decent profits here. So if you look at the Bitcoin price, was at sort of 76 at that point, and then when it picked up here it was like 107. So things move quick. So I tend to find things a lot less stressful when you're holding assets that you actually believe in, and especially when you can make yield off of those assets. Now, guys, I'm going to remind you again, this is not financial advice. This is just my journey. So I like to cover some of the things that I'm doing personally. But you can see we've dipped into extreme fear again, sort of when the price was around 84,000, and here we are again in the sort of 70,000 region at 8. So things are real choppy, but I'm trying to stay as chill as possible. And if we sort of go over to, for example, Blue protocol, this, you know, like everything else, I've paired up my Blue with Ethereum. And I'm just going to take these headphones out because I don't really need them. I've paired it up with Ethereum. So we've got Blue, which is obviously a little bit more of a much lower market cap token, and I've paired it up with Ethereum, so it sort of offsets a little bit of the risk there, in my opinion. But the portfolio is down like everything else. I've got a few of these different accounts split up. So the good thing is that even though things are crazy right now, I'm still earning some decent yield off of my tokens. So I can sort of funnel that into DCA in, or I can, you know, continue to take some profit from it or whatever, and not have to flap and just sort of watch the chart going up and down all day, because I just don't have time for that. So if we go here, you can see I claimed all of this yesterday from all of my accounts, because the voting happens on a Wednesday. Was it Thursday? Well, I did it yesterday either way. And basically, if you come down here, you can see I've already got another 1,000 ABX pending, which I can claim right now. The estimated daily ABX on this account is 1,100 or so. And of course the ABX token price is down as well, just like everything else. But if we go over to manage on Aborean over here, you can see how it all sort of works. And my position, again, it's like 50-50, a V2. I'm holding Wrapped Ethereum and GBlue, and I've got roughly a 1% share of the pool on this account. And in less than 24 hours, that's another sort of $5. Even with the terrible sort of dips in the prices that we've got going on, there's 111% APR that I'm earning from holding my Wrapped ETH and GBlue. So what do I do with that? Well, I tend to sort of let it build up a little bit from each account, and then what I tend to do is I'll come over to lock, for example, and I will either add to one of my existing locks, or I will create a lock. And what I would tend to do is put about, I'll see I've already got another 8,000 sitting in there at the moment that I haven't sort of worked with yet, so I'll do that later. But what I would normally do is do about 25% into a lock. Now what that does is increases my voting power, so that when the epoch, you know, before the epoch ends, I can come over here, vote for, I mean, I always vote for the Wrapped ETH GBlue pool, because I want to pump my own bags, obviously. So what I tend to do is do that. But you can see here from yesterday, that's another $3, another $4 basically, just for clicking a couple of buttons on top of the $5. And I've repeated that over a few different accounts. So that's just in 24 hours. And yeah, I'd create a lock, 25%. And then what I might do is come over to here, where are we, trade, and I can trade some of the ABX into a stable coin. You know, if I want to take some profit into like Tether, USDT, I can take a little bit, you know, pay yourself or whatever. And then what I might do is swap some of that back into Ethereum or Wrapped Ethereum, and come back over to the Blue protocol once that's all done, and go to LP Zap, and I would just zap the Ethereum back into the LP and build the LP at these prices to continue the money loop. So basically, I've taken some profit, I've helped the protocol by locking some up and getting the voting power, and I've also increased the LP position. So that's what I'm doing with Blue protocol right now. It's been freaking awesome, and I'm really enjoying it, and I'm just waiting for the market to turn around. I'm trying not to sell too much of the Aborean token anyway, because I'm kind of bullish long term on that. So I'm just locking it up for now and just getting the voting privileges from that. So another protocol that I'm earning yield from is Sui Farm, or Sui Dex as you might know it. And again, I've got a few accounts on here. Like for example, you know, everyone is just waiting for the market to turn around. Totally understandable, because you know, when things are like this, you're going to get lower APRs because the volume's low, because everyone's, you know, flapping. So this was up, I think, near 80 or 90% when I first got in, and this is just a Bitcoin only pool, so there's no impermanent loss here or anything like that. So it's like 4% in, 4% out, and it's like long-term stuff. So this was like $5.5 grand, I think, worth of Bitcoin that I put in there at the time, and obviously things are down fairly drastically in Bitcoin, which suppresses everything else in the market. The Bitcoin is the sun, and everything else are just the planets and stars moving around it. So it is the power source. So when Bitcoin struggles, everything tends to struggle. So we are waiting for things to happen. But I've got something interesting to show you in a minute. You know, if you've got an open mind, I'm ready to show you something. So anyway, again, yesterday I claimed everything out of here, but already, you know, there's another couple of dollars in this account, you know, and repeat that over a few other accounts. It's just stuff that I can DCA back in. I can just buy more Bitcoin again, which is I do a lot, or I can buy some of the Sui tokens on here, like Victory, or I can just build up some Sui bags again, which is another thing I've been doing. So yes, even though the yields are down, it's just one of those things. We're waiting for the market to turn around a little bit. So things are crazy right now, but if you're holding some tokens that you're confident on, that you've got a good long-term outlook on, and you're earning from them, then you're probably going to be a little bit more chilled out as we wait for this fear and greed index to hopefully head towards extreme greed in the near future. So let's keep an eye on that. In the meantime, some crazy stuff has been going on. If you go over to my X here, you'll see this is crazy. This is like the Dutch Parliament member explains a 36% unrealised capital gains tax just passed by the House of Representatives. This is in the Netherlands, right? So if you're in the UK, Europe, I've been banging on at you for the last, I don't know, couple of years to get a plan B outside, because things are not looking good. This is crazy. This is like almost suicidal when it comes to you. So many people are going to leave. Like what's happening in the UK right now, like there's a mass exodus. There's more millionaires leaving the UK than any other country on the planet. It is intense, like it's by a long shot. And the same thing's now going to happen in the Netherlands. And this is going to probably, they're going to try and push this through, no doubt, in some of these other like European type countries as well. So beware. But if we look down here, the insanity of this is off the freaking chain. So here it gives you an example here. Starting position, you own 500 shares. Value in 2028, 50,000. Value on the January the 1st, 2029, a year later, is 100,000. So the paper gain is $50,000 euros in unrealized profit. Now you didn't sell this, but for tax purposes, that 50,000 is now treated as income. This is criminal. This is tyranny. There's one word I could use for that, is tyranny. Step 2, apply exemption. You're married, so you get a 3,600 euro exemption. Great. So you've got a taxable amount now, 46,400 euros. tax rate's 36%. Again, tyranny. So that gives you a €16,000 tax bill. So that would be due in May, even though you never sold a thing. So step 3, the market falls before you pay. Now, suppose by May the shares drop in value and the new total value is €60,000. This is more than possible, and definitely in crypto this is more than possible. So your portfolio is no longer worth 100,000, it's now worth 60,000, but the tax bill is still €16,700 because it was calculated on the 1st of January valuation. Step 4, you have to sell shares to pay the tax. So to raise the 16,000, you sell part of your shares. After paying the tax, you're left with €60,000 minus 16,700 equals €43,296. So originally you had 500 shares, now you've got 360 left. You were forced to sell 140 shares, which means 28% of your shares have gone. So that is absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. You can carry on reading this if you want. You know, you can check that out. Who posted that? Let's have a look. Bitcoin News. It's just to have a breakdown of that. You know, so at the end of play, you turn a €10,000 real gain into a 6,700 net loss, and you lost 28% of your shares permanently. That is freaking insane. I'm going to say to the Netherlands, you need to understand what Monero is, I think, because you guys are under the cosh big time. I don't know what to say to you, but what I am going to say is this is going to happen elsewhere as well. And talking about insanity, Richie Crypto Mischief, or Mischief Finance, sorry, he's changed the name, is the rocket ship's been grounded. So Texit Coin has received a cease and desist order by the Texas State Securities. Always, the government's there to look after you guys. It's not there to wreck you. As we've seen before, I don't think anyone trusts a government not to want to wreck them completely, because that's kind of their job in many respects, is to sort of take as much as they can. But anyway, I don't know what's going to happen here. This is just fresh off the press. I need to look into this. Obviously, as someone who's got a few Texit Coin miners, it's not looking good. Obviously, this could be a long drawn out thing. I've got no idea. But the Texas Security Board has issued an emergency cease and desist order against Texit Coin. So that's wild. You know, the thing is, you know, again, the last couple of years, people have just been banging on about, you know, getting clarity and regulation. You guys don't understand, when they come to regulate you, they're going to wreck you with those regulations that you begged for. It's basically like turkeys voting for Christmas. So I don't know what to say to you. It's another classic example of, you know, the XRP guys know all about this. They, you know, no one ever gets put in prison for this kind of madness or anything like that. It's crazy, absolutely wild. So yeah, the XRP guys are very aware of what the SEC and these type of organizations can do, and it's wild. And the Pulse Chain guys as well. So, you know, I know there's a bit of clarity in those areas, but wow, so many years of gains lost. So there's some mad stuff going on right now. But if we come down here, this is something that's interesting, right? I sometimes talk about, like, you know, the whole full moon thing and how the dips often occur on these sort of full moons and blood moons. Like, for example, Luna collapsed on a blood moon. There's so many of these coincidences that it's hard to ignore. So if you've got a little bit of an open mind, you can see here, someone's put there, WTF, I'm not going to swear, is the deal with blood moons. Last one in the sequence is on the 3rd of March, and we've got no occurrence of blood moons until the 31st of December 2028, which is over here. You can clearly see the period without these natural phenomena has so far been an environment for a bull run, while the last one marked the end of a bear market each time. Would align with my views, but still this is pretty crazy. So if you look at this chart here, you can see the bull runs are occurring when these blood moons are basically done. So we've got a period of time now. We're about to have the last blood moon. Now we could see a lot of blood in the market potentially on that blood moon. I'll be referring back to this video if we do. That'd be very interesting. But you can see here, there's no blood moons then basically until 2028 or the end of 2028, and these uptrends are typically happening between the occurrence of blood moons. So if you guys are open-minded, that's going to be really, really interesting, and definitely drop in the comments what you think about that. But you know, I've seen enough. I'm pretty convinced that there's more going on here than meets the eye. Anyway, that's for another video. So I hope you guys will have an absolutely amazing day, whatever you're doing. Stay bullish, and I'll see you all in the next one.